So the story started back in the 1930s, late 20s. There were two brothers by the name of Lycan, Otto and Louis, and they were rum runners. And they had a cabin at the mouth of Miller Creek on the 60 Mile River. And they would run illegal alcohol, illegal rum, into Alaska by dog team. And they always did it during a blizzard, so the trail would blow in and nobody could track them. And they had 5 different passes into Alaska, and they used a different one every time. So anyways, it was Louis' turn to go out. So he packed up the sleigh, he was heading up the river, and he put his foot through some overflow and he got his right foot wet. He was in the middle of the blizzard, so he couldn't stop. So he made the run to Alaska, came back to the cabin. When he took his boots and socks off, the big toe on his right foot was frozen solid. So his brother said, if that gets gangrenous, you're dead. And we're 60 miles away from anything. So he got an axe and he chopped his brother's toe off. Now I imagine that some of that OP rum went down Louis' throat and probably got splashed in the toe before he whacked it off. But anyways, for some strange reason, nobody knows why, Otto took a mason jar and put the toe in it and filled it up with the OP rum, sealed it and put it on the shelf. And there it sat for 40 years. In 1972, there was a lady by the name of Lou Wallace, who later became Lou Stevenson. And Captain Dick Stevenson had a tour boat business. It was called the Yukon Lou, but it was not named after her. He was a Robert Service fan, so it was the lady known as Lou in the shooting of Dan McGrew. So anyways, she was also a silver prospector. So she had the cabin as a line cabin, but it was full of junk. So she dragged Dick out there, Dick Stevenson, to clean up the cabin. In the process, he found the jar with the toe, but he didn't think anything of it. He just put it back on a shelf and came to town. Now, in town, he was always trying to come up with harebrained schemes to promote his tour boat business. So anyways, there's 2 reporters, one from the Edmonton Journal and one from the White Horse Star. So anyways, he started going through these ideas and stuff like that, how to promote his business. And in passing, he mentioned the toe. Now, Dan Sawatsky from the White Horse Star was always needling Dick because of these harebrained schemes. So he said, Dick, you got to bring that to town. That's an artifact from the gold rush. You got to put that on display. Dick said, all right, sure. So they went back to where they came from, and he got thinking over the winter. This is the winter of 72, 73. And he thought, there's people that come up here in the spring and they leave in the fall, tourist operators, gold miners, and they've never stayed for a winter. So they're still chichacos. They're greenhorns. They're not sourdoughs, because sourdough you have to stay for freeze up to break up. So anyways, he's like, and he's a punster like me. He said, in order to become an honorary sourdough, you have to kiss the sour toe. So he talked some guys into doing it in the spring, and in the fall, he had 8 members in the sourdough cocktail. And the guy from the Edmonton Journal came back, and he said, hey Dick, you ever do anything with the toe? And he had the certificates and everything like that. And the reporter said, this is just crazy enough. I'm going to write it up as a human ninja story in the Edmonton Journal. And he did, and it took off. And the rest is history. But there's an interesting sidebar there. Otto, or Louis Lycan, was alive in 1971 in the old folks' home. He died in 1971. The toe was rediscovered in 1972. So it's as if the toe was saying, hey, this guy's gone, time to come out and play.
It's like he lived on.
Yeah.
Now, that was one toe, but I hear that there's been a few.
Oh, we're on toe number 11.
And what happened?
They've been stolen, they've been lost, they've been swallowed, and they just go beyond use.
And so how are you getting the toes now?
Anonymous donations through wills. But the toe we have now, the story goes that there was a lady in Edmonton who decided to mow her lawn in sandals. It is a really, really gnarly toe. Usually when we get the toe from the hospital, it's nice and clean cut and stuff like that. It looks really neat. This one's all jagged at the end. There's pieces sticking out. So it's a gnarly toe.
Oh, that's gross. That was perfect. That was awesome.
You betcha.
That was very good. Thank you.
Okay.
That's great.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So how many toes do you pour, or how many?
Just one. Except once a year, we serve what they call the foot. It's the big toe and 4 small toes.
Once a year. When is that?
Usually during Yukon Quest. That's
Okay.
in February.
Yeah.
So that's about the intent. Because those small toes are what they call hammer toes. They're deformed. So if somebody swallows one of those, it's most likely not going to go down, and it's most likely not going to come up.
Oh.
So you got to be really careful with those toes.
So are they meant to kiss all of the toes
You
from
just
the
kiss the one that's on the top, and it's usually the big toe.
And is it good luck?
Oh yes, yes. It's good karma too.
And how did you get tied into all of it?
Well, actually, I was working at a job. This is in 2013. I was working at a job in town, and I got laid off from it. And I was walking by the hotel, and the manager was sitting at the back porch having a smoke. And I said, "Sir, you got anything for me?" He said, "Yeah, I need a toe cap." And I said, "Sign me up." Yeah. So I did it for 2 years, and then my voice burned out. So I'm taking it easy right now. I'm just doing special events like these culinary guys, and yeah.
Big.
Yeah.
So what is the responsibility of the toe captain? What do you need to
The
make
toe
sure
captain,
happens?
make sure the toe is in good shape.
Yep.
And what we do is we have a book with the person's name and the location where they're from and the date.
Yep.
So it goes in this book, and then it's to fill out the certificate and the card, and then you make the presentation and stuff like that.
And so I hear that there's a fine associated if you
Yes.
swallow. What is the fine?
original fine was $500, but on August 24th, 2013, at 11:15 p.m., a guy swallowed the toe. And at that time, the fine was $500, and he did it on purpose. And he took the $500 up and put it on the table. Now, we had this toe and the other toe. The other toe was the better toe. And we switched it off once a week, and we had just switched it off. So this toe was pretty dark. I was there. And when he put it down, he goes like that, and he had a beer. And he took a slug of the beer, and I got up and he said, "It's down." So it stuck in his throat. He came this close to dying.
What was your reaction?
I have the equivalent of 6 black belts in Kung Fu. I was ready to beat on him. I had to really, really control myself. And the manager at that time had the flu, and he was in bed. He came over in his pajamas. By that time, the guy left. But everybody knew who he was. And he went up the Dempster, and in one of the outhouses up in the Dempster is where the toe now resides. We can't use it. It's probably been pumped out since then. But there were some guys that came to me and said, "Look," he said, "you're going to have 10 new toes when we find this guy." And they were serious.
Was he from the Yukon?
No, he's from New Orleans. He was a freelance writer
Oh.
in New Orleans.
Did his article ever?
And he heard about it, and he was gone.
Do you remember his name?
Yes, I call him the cannibal.
Well, couldn't you get arrested for cannibalism in these days? That's technically what he did.
You see, they were going to pursue it in the court of law, but since he paid the fine, there was no recourse legally to do it.
Do you know if he ended up writing anything about it?
The story I heard, and there was somebody who knew him down there, he went back and he was sitting on 5 different boards of directors. And then within a month, he was sitting on 0. He wrote it up and he tried to publish it, and nobody would touch it.
I remember seeing it in the news.
Well, it's on Facebook.
Yeah.
So it didn't turn out as well as he wanted it at
no,
all.
It just completely backfired.
Wow.
See, this is a tourist thing. So it was tourist oriented. And what he did was a slap in the face to the KVA and the Sourtoe cocktail and the people of Dawson. You know?
Have you yourself done it?
Yeah, I've done it 7 times.
Do you know, is there one person in particular that has done it an extraordinary amount of times?
Yes, there's one lady. Her name is Vashti. She now lives in BC. She's done the toe 157 times.
Wow.
And here I thought I'd break the record.
You got a long ways to go.
I do.
Yeah, I think she had a toe fetish.
Are they mostly male toes or female toes?
The one we got is a female toe. Usually it's anonymous through a will.
Yeah.
But you can usually tell because a female toe is kind of rounded at the bottom and it's smaller.
Yeah.
The male toe the nail is usually square.
Yeah.
So you can usually differentiate.
So it's mostly men
Nail
that you
polish?
get, or
Mostly men.
Yeah.
Occasional female.
No nail polish though.
Oh, no nail polish.
Do people ever, are they ever sick after just from the idea of it, or?
This is funny. There's a bunch of firefighters in here. That was about a year and a half ago. And so some of the guys hadn't done it. And this one guy just did not want to do the toe. And, but anyways, he got up there, he did the toe, and he threw up. And I know his name is David. He's a local guy, but now I call him Barfer. And the name is, nobody calls him David anymore, they call him Barfer.
So nobody wins against the sourdough. They all win. The sourdough wins.
There is one lady, that was this summer, she was really squeamish. And she'd take a look at the toe, she'd go like that, and then she did the toe, and then, you know, me being the clown I am, I get the toe and I wave it in front of things. She was doing that all night long. Somebody would even mention it to her, but she never did throw up. It was just absolutely hilarious.
How long do the toes last, like generally?
Usually 4 years. This one's working on 5 because this is our last toe.
Yeah.
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 Oh, you haven't had another donation?
No. We've had donations of the hammer toes, but we need the big toe.
Have you put it in your will, like, for 50
Well,
years from now?
Are you still recording?
Yeah. Do you want me to turn it off?
Okay, well, I'm going to tell you something that's a little bit risque. In my will, I'm donating all 10 of my toes, plus another part of my body. It's going to have to be served in a pitcher. And it's going to give a new meaning to the word cocktail.
Oh, that's the best.
That's awesome.
That's the best.
You know, there's a museum in Iceland for those, and people have donated them, animals and humans.
Yep.
Well, the animals didn't really have a say, I guess.
Well, there was after the swallowing, there was a contest in Norway, and they wanted to find people who would bring in the most toes, and they would receive something. So apparently, there are 7 toes in Norway. But you cannot ship a body part over an international border.
Oh.
So as far as I know, they're still sitting in Norway and we can't reach them. 7 toes. Like, we could really use those toes.
Someone could just, like, stick it in a bag and check it.
Smuggle it in. Yeah.
That's funny.
That was
That's
brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank
so
you.
Now we're over 61,500 toes.
60.
The number is probably more than that because when the toe changes hands, it's changed hands about 4 times. Some of the people started at 0.
Oh.
Yeah, because it changed hands. So I figure it's between 150 and 200,000 toes have been sold in total. Because Captain Dick used to take it out to Vancouver and Toronto. In the wintertime, he'd take it on the road. And that's how one of them was stolen. This is a story too because it was stolen. He was really irate about it. He knew the guy that stole it. So he notified the RCMP. They got it in the border. But he gave the toe to somebody else and they took it through the border. And they were serving it down in the States. And he heard about it. And so the RCMP says, well, we don't have legal jurisdiction, but we're going to check with the state police. We can come down there and just scare the crap out of these guys, maybe get the toe back. And that's what they did.
Awesome.
And it was actually written up, I think it was in the Toronto Star or the Globe and Mail. They actually wrote that up about how the RCMP went there. They get their man and their toes, too. Yeah. But there's all kinds of stories like that. Captain Dick is still alive. He's 86 years old. He's down in Whitehorse. But I've known him for 36 years. We used to brainstorm together. Come up with these weird ideas.
It's brilliant.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Well, thank you for your time.
You betcha.
Thank you.
As much as possible for your nervousness. All right, do you have a $5 toe tax on you?
Sorry, a what?
I need $5.
Okay. Sorry. I'm not thinking quite clearly. Sorry. Keep your teeth together.
I can change that.
Keep shaking.
There you go. You got it.
Teeth together.
What's your name?
Like Lorraine. No.
L-O-R-A-I-N-E?
L-O-R-R-A-I-N-E.
Last name?
Elliot. E-L-L-I-O-T-T.
And where are you from?
Australia.
You come quite a way to visit Toe.
This is why I've come to the Yukon.
Are you serious?
Yes.
That's crazy. Kiss a toe. And you're this nervous?
Sorry?
You came all the way out here and you're this nervous?
I know.
You live in Australia, there's so many
Maybe it's
things.
excitement.
Worse than a toe.
I know. That is very true.
Yeah. You'll be fine. Do you understand the rules?
Don't eat it.
Don't eat it. Don't swallow. It's $2,500 if you swallow this
Trust
toe.
me, I'm not.
It's also a very uncomfortable snack. And you're going down with it. Don't let it go past your lips either. If you do that, you'll be labeled a toe biter, and I'm not giving you your certificate.
Okay.
Just give it a nice little kiss. All right, you can drink it fast, you can drink it slow, but your lips have to touch your toe. All right, nicely done, Lorraine. One last thing for you. Finish off that toe joke.
Good. Thank you.
Very welcome.